Hey guys, this is Keith, or Sebastian SB, the guy that you've probably been watching play Dark Souls 2 lately. I regret to inform you that today there will be no Dark Souls 2 episode because of technical problems. I can fix it, don't worry about it. I've fixed it before, but I don't have the time this time, so I'm going to miss a day. My bad. On the other hand, though, the upside is I get a chance to talk to you guys, because I've been meaning to ask you guys about something, because Dark Souls 2 is almost over. I'm getting close to the end of the game, I can tell, so I want to know what you guys want in the future. My current plan is to finish Dark Souls 2, and then return to my Dark Souls 1 series, where I have to get 2 pieces of the Lord Vessel and do the DLC content before beating the game, at which point I will be done with all 3 Souls games. At that point, I have a 2-part question for you guys. One, because you guys clearly like to watch Souls content, I want to know what you guys want me to do next when it comes to Souls games. I could do a New Game Plus of Demon Souls, Dark Souls, or Dark Souls 2. Because Dark Souls 2 is brand new and there's the most demand for it, I assume you guys probably want me to play Dark Souls 2 more than anything. So the question at that point is, what exactly do you guys want me to do next? Do you want me to play the game again, but do it in that one covenant that makes the game harder? Or do I do a New Game Plus? And if I do a New Game Plus, do I just play as the cleric even more? Or, because the soul vessels exist and make this possible, should I respec my entire character from scratch as, say, a melee character or a sorcerer, and try playing through New Game Plus as what is essentially a different class so that you guys get a different experience while also getting to experience the New Game Plus content? This seems to me like what you guys were most likely to want me to do, but I want to hear your feedback on that. My other question is related to what else you guys would like me to play. I want this channel to be about more than Souls games, and it used to be, but in the rush up to Dark Souls 2's release, I was cranking out those Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls videos trying to get them done in time. Didn't quite make it, and then I cranked out all these Dark Souls 2 videos, and now I'm going to go back to cranking out Dark Souls 1 videos, and once that's over, it's just so much time has been invested, and so much time has been spent editing on a daily basis. I want to slow down a little bit, and I would like to play something else if I can find something that you guys would like to see me play. Brand new games that I have been looking at include Child of Light, which came out today, and Bound by Flame, which comes out in a few weeks. If these are games you would like to see me play, please leave a comment telling me so. In fact, I'm going to read off a lot of games that I have been interested in playing, and I want you to, if you can't, please leave a comment listing any games you hear of, or even games you don't hear of that you think would be cool to play, and that you would be willing to watch. That's the big factor here. Not just games you like, or games I should play, but games that, if they're on this channel and they show up in your subscription box, you will click on and watch. Because, unfortunately, since so many of you are subscribing just from Dark Souls 2, I don't actually have a great idea of the range of taste or interest that my audience currently has, and I would like to learn more about that. So like I said, new games coming out soon include Child of Light and Bound by Flame. Child of Light is an RPG by Ubisoft. It's on every platform. I'll probably get it on PS3. Bound by Flame is a RPG that I frankly don't know much about, but it comes out in a few weeks, so I still have time to learn about that. And if you know anything about it, feel free to say anything about it you want. I've been tempted to do strategy games like XCOM Enemy Unknown / Enemy Within, because I think it'd be fun to do a full series on that. I might even name the squad members after either people in my audience or people I've collaborated with in the past, or maybe both. There's also a Dungeons and Dragons style, old school sort of turn-based turn-based strategy game called Blackguards, which is in a similar vein, which I might do. I also have an interest in procedurally generated permadeath games, also known sometimes as roguelikes in recent memory, but I like to call them rogue-lites because they're not as complicated as the roguelikes of old days, but they are the same concept of procedurally generated stuff, and if you die forever. I want to play Tokyo Jungle, which is a game where you play as animals in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo. There's Tower of Guns, which is a tower of guns where you shoot. It's like an old Quake-style game. Binding of Isaac, you've probably heard of that. Eldrich is a procedurally generated, like, Cthulhu horror sort of, not horror, but it uses the sort of Cthulhu imagery in a procedurally generated dungeon crawler sort of thing. Rogue Legacy you've probably heard of. It's a sort of like Castlevania style roguelite. And then RPGs. I'm a big fan of BioWare, particularly the more recent stuff. I love the Mass Effect trilogy and Dragon Age 1 and 2, so if you want me to play those, I would love to. There's also Dragon's Crown, a side-scrolling beat-em-up game. Skyrim, you know what that is. Also Fallout 3 and New Vegas. I could do sort of like my own adventure in those. Dragon's Dogma is actually a game that some might even consider to be somewhat similar to Dark Souls, and I have Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, the expansion. And my first ever game, for those of you that don't know, my first thing I ever played on this channel was Outlast. So there's Silent Hill. I could play Silent Hill, or Silent Hill 2, or Silent Hill Downpour, or Dead Space Trilogy, or The Thing. Like, I have a bunch of horror games I can play if that's something that you'd be interested in. I'm also interested in the idea of survival games where you have to fight to continue to exist. Obviously, there's Tomb Raider, although that might be a bit of a vanilla version of that, but I've also wanted to play State of Decay, the Xbox sort of open-world zombie game where if you die, you lose that character forever, and hopefully you have more survivors with which to fight on. Miasmata, you're abandoned on an island and you have a disease and you have to cure it, but the inhabitants of the island are not friendly and everything's fucked. There's Suda51 games, there's really quirky, weird games. Lollipop Chainsaw, Killer is Dead, Shadows of the Damned, Black Knight Sword, and No More Heroes. They're all sort of these, I think most of them are fairly linear action games that are just super strange Japanese titles. Soon, a patch is supposed to come out for the PlayStation 4 that removes HDCP, which means I can record my PlayStation 4 games I have. Right now, that's not a lot of games, but I could try Contrast, a puzzle platformer, and Strider, which is a remake of the old Strider Hiryu games. Then I have classic games. I could play Shadow of the Colossus, which actually might appeal to some of you Dark Souls folk because it's a game about taking down giant monsters. And there's Ico, Okami, Manhunt, Silent Bomber, which is actually an interesting little PlayStation 1 action game that's sort of like a super hardcore version of Bomberman, except it's crazy. And that might interest some of you guys. Breakdown, which might be considered a precursor to Mirror's Edge because it's a first-person melee game with lots of running around and stuff. Scrapland, I don't even know what that is. And The Suffering. So please leave me input. I need comments because I don't necessarily know what to do with you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing. This channel has completely exploded with the advent of Dark Souls 2 on console, and its recent release on PC seems to be having a similar effect. I'm excited, and I really want to keep interacting with you guys and provide content that you guys want, because obviously I'm guiding you a bit on a list here, and that's because a Let's Player should only play stuff that they're actually interested in playing. But I feel like sharing a list with you and getting feedback from you is good because then I can also provide content that you're willing to watch. Otherwise, it's a lot of work to put out videos that no one watches. Thank you for subscribing. And by the way, I've put out 2 videos a day recently every now and then. That will not probably be a long-term solution because, frankly, I can't do that because I'm already putting out 2 to 3 videos a day on other channels when I put them all combined. There's a channel called The Sad Games, which is a channel I've been a part of for almost 3 years. The channel you're watching right now has actually only been around for like less than 6 months, I think. Or maybe just about 6 months. Anyway, this is a new channel. Sad Games is an old channel. I'm still on that, and we put out daily videos there. There's also a channel called Sad Cast, which is our ongoing podcast series that has only started recently. So if you want to know why I'm not willing to put out a ton of videos on this channel all the time, it's because I'm actually putting out videos all over the place. Thank you for your input. Please leave comments. I want to hear from you guys. Otherwise, I'm just going to be running blind, and you might not like what happens. Thanks for watching. Oh. By the way, the background video you're seeing right now is a perspective from another one of the players I have collaborated with. I started recently, because the PC version came out, I've been playing a co-op series with a few people, so expect to see that in Dark Souls 2. It's us playing through Dark Souls 2 together, having silly antics. It's not a big pro, like, hardcore, let's show how good we are series. It's more of a, let's fuck around in Dark Souls 2 and have a silly time and make stupid-looking characters and fall off cliffs a lot series. So hopefully you guys like that when it comes out. It's going to take a lot of editing, because we have 3 players to switch perspectives of. Once again, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Sorry about the lack of editing here. I really am short on time, actually.